All right, welcome to Dean Bodie Show. Dan, 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 dan. Dean and Bodie Show. What's going on? Welcome to Dean Bodie Show YouTube channel. I wasn't going to do a video podcast today, but I decided to because, on a serious note, I'm going to dive into anxiety, depression, my experience with that, depersonalization, derealization, the branches of. And I'm going way back over 25 years ago when I had my first nervous breakdown and my first real dealings with this seriousness of, before it had a name attached to it. Let's put it that way. Pretty crazy. And before we get into that, a couple of house cleaning items. Remember, Dean Bodie Podcast. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating. I hope you're enjoying the content because we're going to be keeping it real here. That's another reason why I wanted to do a video podcast about this serious topic, that it's been a close friend of mine for over 25 years. Because I want to look at you in the eye and let you know it's going to be all right. You can beat this thing. And how I'm doing it on a daily basis as I wrestle with my friend here, anxiety, depersonalization, derealization, is pretty wild ride. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it latches on for a week or two. The first bout I had went well over 2 years, daily, 24/7, constant. I didn't know what it was, didn't have a name to it. And I was, to give you a little bit of a backstory, I'll take a deep breath. Who knows, I might have an anxiety attack right here in front of you. Who cares? I hope it does because I know how to beat it. I know what it is, and we're just going to roll with it. All right? So what I'm saying is, this goes back to when I was living in Clearwater, Florida, okay? I was bartending at a nightclub in Marietta, Georgia. What a family we had there. And I remember before I moved to Clearwater, we had a situation where a couple of friends of mine that worked there, special guys, young, got killed drinking and driving. Okay, I never experienced anything like that at my age, and it threw not only me but the entire nightclub upside down. Okay, it was so amazing to me that could even happen. It could have very easily been me, and going out on a celebratory drive, celebrating. The one was the bar trainer, the other one was training, and he just got his next level of training, I think, to become a corporate trainer. Super smart. Let's just call him Joey and Hutch because may you rest in peace. You really affected my life in so many positive ways. It's amazing. So it did happen. The amazing thing is how the club stuck together, how we came together as a family and stayed there. I was in school trying to get my doctorate degree at the time, and I was trying to juggle both of those at the same time. I had to choose. I had a hard time focusing on my midterms and final exams all of a sudden because it gave me a wake-up call how precious life is, and I made a decision to stay on with the bar. I felt not only did they need me, I needed them. The family and the camaraderie was over the top special. It's one of those once in a lifetime things that just happens. We all have them. This is mine, and it's almost like a fraternity, or for the girls like a sorority, and at the same time, all of us one big family. Owner trickling down. We did a whole memorial for them. I went to 2 funerals back to back, and you want to talk about struggling. Talk about breaking down. The world was spinning. Like I said, it could have easily been me. And you know what? It really didn't stop us from the party people that we were. It was almost kind of like, oh, well, they would want us, here's a shot, order some shots of tequila. Here's to you, Joey and Hutch. And, we kind of that's how we handled it at that young age in our 20s. How do you process something like that and get through it? Keep the camaraderie going. Get up on the bar and do the show times. Keep the lip sync contest going. Keeping your the joyness about it, because the customers that were coming in there deserve that still. And we brought our A game. You know, it was amazing. And that kind of tragedy, not to mention other things we went through, love, breakups, tragedy, death, and all that. You want to talk about forming tight bonds and finding a way to keep moving forward. That's the biggest example I have in my life, other than my father passing away when I was 3.5 years old of a massive heart attack, and got taken from me when he was 42 years old, just when they were on their way up. Built a new house in Miami. 3 months later, heart attack, and died. And so as a young boy, I probably started dealing with this kind of anxiety thing in my head subconsciously, when you don't really know when you're that young. But hey, that's when it starts, you know, or even before. But the next milestone for something so intense was this thing, two friends of mine back to back, killed in a car wreck, out celebrating what they just accomplished, new lease on life, and going up a notch in corporate, setting your goals, and everything was so free back then and fun, it just didn't make sense. And getting in a brand new, what I thought was brand new, Joey's Corvette, mint condition. God, that car was sweet. And they come barreling over after a night of partying. They got airborne coming over a hill, as I understand it. They came down, the wheel was kind of turned, it grabbed the road, it flipped them upside down and slid them into a curb where they both got decapitated, basically. And that was the end of that. And we did move forward, but I'm trying to let you know, not to get down too much of the intensity of it. It's wild. And we all go through it. We've all had tragedies in our life. And, if there's an accumulation of things throughout your life, and all of a sudden, boom, you blow a circuit breaker. That's what happened to me after I decided to go out of school, hang with the bar, and then move to Clearwater, Florida with my girlfriend at the time, and try and just to take a break in a new life, not worry about school. I continued with the nightclub business, and as a bartender, at a pretty high level, I might add, but I got some good training from Joey. I love you, man. And it was like an amazing thing. Joey and Hutch were two really special guys. I can't say it enough. They put their footprint on the planet, for sure. Their smiles, the way they were, their confidence, the list goes on and on. Love you to this day, and everybody that was there with me at in Marietta, Georgia at the time, dealing with this. Really, really special. Might as well say the name. It was at Studebaker's in Windy Hill, Marietta, Georgia. Probably the most special bar by far that I've ever worked in. And I worked in a lot, but that one's ranking way up there, man. And be sticking to my ribs and all of your personalities to the end of time. I know mine will be sticking to yours as well, whether good or bad. I'm getting a little emotional right now thinking about it, but so let's go back to Clearwater, Florida, because I want to get into this anxiety, depersonalization, derealization. Let me get situated here. And before it had a name, okay? I'm way before it had a name, and I have a lot of experience with this. So just strap yourself in for a little bit. Let's go on the ride, okay? So I'm going out with my girlfriend at the time. We're living together. We got a great place on the bay in Clearwater, and wasn't going so well. I was at the time where I needed to get back into school. There was kind of like a statute of limitations on when I could get back and not lose too much time or have my clinic hours and my labs and all that I've built as credits disappear on me, so I'd have to start over again. And it was coming. So I made a decision to go back. And I'm reading positive books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, some Tony Robbins, and just trying to get my mind right. And the girlfriend at the time, we were not on the same page. Needless to say, the relationship destructed. I decided to move in with a bartending friend of mine. Shout out to Tomcat. I love you, man. And he rescued me and said, come on, you can stay with me. And I slept on the couch, anything to get out of the headspace where I was to try making a new plan. Okay? And started to make the phone calls, and I was working at a place called Storman's Palace, a great bartending job there with the greatest bartenders in the area, the Florida area. It was an amazing experience. And thank you for Studebakers with the pour testing, with the test tube rack, right hand, left hand. You don't get 90%. You don't go behind the bar. Thank God for them and their training, because when I got to tell this part before we get into the anxiety. Hey, Millie, he's talking about anxiety today. He is? Yeah. Oh, cool. So boom. There's the anxiety killer for real. The Bodie of the Dean Bodie Show. Man, oh man. Come on. Bring it on. Bring it on. So thank God for the training at Studebakers with the strictness of the free pouring techniques, how to really get it dialed in. You're pouring from 2 ounces down to a 1/4 ounce, and you got to nail it both hands. I think it was both hands twice. Otherwise, you're not going behind the bar in your shift. Come on. Unbelievable. So I heard about this bar opening up, Storman's Palace. New nightclub in town, Clearwater. What a monster place. Sports bar. It was male reviews. It was like the greatest sound system and DJ anywhere in the Tri-County area, whatever you want to call it. It was the new state-of-the-art. We're coming, okay? And they wanted the best of the best to work there. So I go for the interview, so to speak, the interview. There was about 300 people in line around the corner waiting to interview. And guess what? Here's the kicker. Pour test. I was like, yes! I was fired up because bring on the pour test. I know that you've already narrowed down my chances of getting hired. Here's the kid from out of town. All these guys that worked around there, and I saw some of the other guys bartending at a place called like Confetti, some of the other cool bars, and these guys were throwing bottles back and forth and spinning napkins and catching them behind their head, blowing fire, flipping behind their back, doing these bottle twirls and things I've never seen before, but 2 guys that were just crushing it, and I'm like, I have to work with these guys. Hands down. So it turns out one of those guys ended up being one of the interviewers and manager at the new place, Storman's Palace. The other guy became a male stripper, and we ended up seeing him later at the male reviews at the place. It's crazy. And I'm in line with the interviews, and it comes up to me now. This is probably waiting 2 hours to get up. Knowing that the pour testing is involved, people are sweating and nervous. I didn't know that was going to be there. Wow, I used to work here, here, and here. But can you pour test? Well, when you're talking about liquor costs and having people knowing what they're doing and free pouring, because that's what the customers want. Let's get real. No jigger, no donut, none of that. They want a good free pour. And the managers and the owners, of course, want you to be accurate, so you keep liquor costs where they need to be, and you give somebody a great cocktail. Got it? So I get there, and I see the pour testing, and I see Tony, who the guy that I saw at the other bar a couple of weeks prior, when I first moved out there, doing all the flipping and the juggling. I'm like, oh man, the pressure is on. This guy is doing the interviews. This guy has got the clipboard and doing the pour testing. So the nerves started to crank up a little bit. But I was kind of like, I've been doing this for a long time. Left hand, right hand, let's go. So I do the pour test, and I just nail it. I crushed it, and we moved on. He just gave me kind of a serious look, and I went on the rest of the interview process and told him about my thing, me just moving there. And they didn't really want somebody living out of they had their little cliquey people around with the different bars, just like I did when I was in Georgia. You know everybody. Here comes the guy from Georgia into Clearwater. He nails the pour test, and then I just went home and waited. 2 days later, I get the phone call. Dean there? Yes. This is Tony. Hey, Tony. You're not going to let me down, are you? I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you got the job. I said, you're kidding. I said, not only am I going to not let you down, I'm going to be the best bartender you've ever hired in that place. I can't wait to get there. And he goes, all right, man, I'll see you Tuesday. We had a meeting, staff meeting and all that stuff about the new grand opening and everything. Yes, I'm so pumped up just talking about it. And the money was phenomenal. I worked with bartenders that blew me away, by the way, with the tricks and the this. And oh my God, these guys were like another level. Some I was better than, but I was like in the middle. I got to be honest. Because some of this bottle flipping, flame blowing, all of this stuff wasn't quite there. But I learned how to blow fire. I learned how to put it out in my mouth. And these guys, you learn from each other. And what a family that became. And shout out for Storman's Palace. And really amazing. But Studebakers, man, you got me tuned up for that job. I feel like I made the all-star team, bartending all-star team for real. I can't thank you enough. So, wow. Okay, so I'm there in Clearwater, okay? And then now we got to go there, and we're talking about what happened was I moved in with my friend, the bartender. Relationship was not going well. And there was a party at Storman's Palace, and people rented a party bus, somebody's birthday from what I remember, and we all decided to go out together. And I needed God knows I needed something to lift me up. Let's go out. I'm in this funk. I want to go back to school. I'm figuring that out. The girlfriend thing, the relationship is awful. I don't want to fight anymore. And I want to try to go down a different path, And that's the road that I was on. So we went out and we all got hammered. What a shocker. Back when I was drinking up a storm. Okay? Hence the name Storman's Palace. No, but... And we were just partying big time. We had a great time. I remember the next day waking up with a hangover. That night, my new roommate, Tomcat, and I decided to go out for a nice Mexican dinner. I remember sitting there, had a great meal, went home early, got to bed early, woke up the next day, and the room was spinning. Big time, like a vertigo, except this one I knew was different. It was more than just a hangover. And it was like somebody put a piece of saran wrap, like the plastic wrap, or if you look like through a glass block, and you see that visual haziness. And like somebody flipped the breaker switch on me, and it scared the living daylights out of me. This was another level. What am I going to do? Did I hurt myself for the rest of my life? My insecurities all of a sudden were there. I never felt like this before. The outgoing bartender guy, all this was, I'm going back to school. This can't be happening now. Oh, yes, it can. Okay? And it did. So what ended up happening after I went, I don't want to go too far to every doctor I saw, but yes, MRIs of the brain, eye, ear, nose, and throat specialists, all different medical doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists. We'll put you on this. We'll put you on that. Oh, this looks like it's an inner ear problem. The MRI's coming up negative. I went to the applied kinesiologist and the chiropractors and all these people trying to balance out my nervous system and all of this cross-crawl technique. Let's go on a super cleanse and start from scratch and clean your system out and get going. I did the whole 9 yards because I wanted to find out the answer. And it did not go away. Nobody could find out what was going on. And I was accepting this, and I knew I had to deal with this somehow. And I went back to school anyway and finished and got my degree and got my doctorate. But it was brutal. I'll tell you that story, the road trip story, on another time. But my point is, what it ends up being is your fight or flight mechanism in your body, your nervous system, locks up. Okay? It locks up, And I'm telling you right now, in my experience, alcohol's involved, the drugs are involved. I don't care if it's marijuana, cocaine, whatever you want to call it. These things are a catalyst. Okay? It's not helping. Unhealthy diet, not helping. Caffeine to the nines, not helping. Energy drinks to the nines, not helping. Sodas and sugary stuff and all that stuff, it's not helping at all. Because right now your body needs everything needs all this environment to be right so it can heal and fix itself. But I wasn't thinking along those lines back then. I just knew something serious was going on, and I was hoping that, oh, inner ear infection, great. You'll give me a little this and a little that, it'll clear up, and bammo, my life will be clear again. Not even close. Oh, the MRI will show something. I got something in my brain, maybe some benign thing, hopefully nothing too serious. Came back normal. Not even close. The psychiatrist, psychologist, you got this, you got that. This doctor, that doctor, all the little specialists and the holistic people doing their thing, nothing changed, nothing, not even a little bit. The fight or flight mechanism locks up on you. And I'm telling you, with all the chemicals that are involved, whether dietary, alcohol, drugs, whatever, the fear emotion is one of the key components. What does that mean? Well, I don't like you went to a haunted house or something and you got scared. That kind of fear, right? Is a component, which is like that one little ingredient it needs to lock your fight or flight mechanism up as the body's protective mechanism so you don't go into a padded room with a straitjacket. Yeah, that's what's going on. So the fear could be, I don't know, maybe you had some confrontation with somebody while these other things were going on. You're getting drunk, you're doing drugs, you're going through a bad breakup. There's a fear in there. Something happened. You had a close call with maybe like a car accident or around some stressful environment where you had confrontation or getting into a fight of some kind with somebody. And it added that ingredient, just like in a recipe for a cake. Boom. The switch goes off. Like someone flipped the circuit breaker in your house and the lights go off. Wham. And you're looking through a piece of saran wrap all of a sudden, a glass bottle, this visual haziness that is so uncomfortable. Unless you've gone through it, I don't wish it on anybody. That's what happened to me. They couldn't find the answers. I went back to school anyway. I finished a degree with the haziness, with my new insecurities. And I found out myself overcompensating. It was really weird, laughing more than I would normally laugh, or trying to be extra outgoing to compensate these shortcomings now that I have now. That's so not me. The outgoing bartender, Mr. Bar Flair, lip sync contests, all these things. All of a sudden, I am like feeling super insecure. It was brutal. So school in a weird way, not in a weird way, but in a good way, kept me focused on studying. Kept me focused on whatever, and I got new friends and all that. And you know what the weird thing is? Nobody even knows there's a problem with you. You know. They can't see it. You can tell anybody what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with me. You don't want to talk about it too much and give it too much energy because people look at you like everything's fine. Inside, you are not fine. To the point where you're afraid to leave the house. I've been to that level, afraid to leave the house and go outside. I've been put on different meds, and because of the palpitations, and you think you're having a heart attack. Those are some other stories I'll get into in other parts of the country when I was working in my new profession, about what I went through with that. So the first episode went about 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Every single day, 24/7, the visual haziness was there, never left my side, not even for a moment. And I'm like, I'm going to be this way for the rest of my life. Okay? Thank God it did not turn out that way. Okay? And some people go 5 years on the first ride. Some people go a few months, and it corrects. It's across the board, around all over the place with different times, and I'm telling you what's going on with me, but basically it's the same. Now, does it make a difference how you're treating your body? Are you still drinking? Are you still doing drugs? You're still smoking weed every day? Are you involved in a stressful situation within a relationship constantly and all that? That's not changing. It's not going to change. Yes, you're going to do a little patch-up work, and you're going to feel a little better temporarily, of course, when you get buzzed, because when you get buzzed, you go into that area psychologically of where you're comfortable again. Then when that wears off, boom, the depersonalization and derealization is there again. It's like living in a dream state, this fogginess that doesn't leave. It's ridiculously uncomfortable, and you have to fight through it, and you got to keep moving forward. In closing, and we're going to get into more of these things as we go down the road, because Dean Bodie Show keeps it real. I'm looking you in the eye. I'm telling you, these are real stories. They're always going to be real stories from me. I want to be some hope for you and some confidence that you're going to be fine. Now that there's a name attached to it that I found out 15 years later, depersonalization, derealization, wow, I've been dealing with this for over 15 years now. It's got a name. Guess what was good about that? It has a name. It's good to put a name to something so you know what's going on. You know there's a bunch of other people dealing with the same thing. If you're in a waiting room in a doctor's office and you go in there because you have big, ridiculously intense migraine headaches, what do you want to be around you in the office? You want everybody around you to have these migraine headaches, and you know you're in the right place and you're getting help there. You know, you're not there because someone's got hemorrhoids. You want to hear that other people are getting help for their migraines. So that's what this society became. And I was seeing all these people struggling and the fear. And I'm like, wow, I have been there for 15 years. And now I got a name. And putting the name really helped. Knowing that it's not a death sentence. It's not going to go away. So the best way to do it, in closing, to give you some tools and tips: no drinking, no alcohol, no drugs. Stay away from the caffeine, the sugar. Clean up your diet. Get the exercise going. Walking is okay, but if you can do weight training, if you can do some kind of elliptical bike or a fast walk on a treadmill or a run or a stationary bike, you're going to give that trapped adrenaline somewhere to release. You're going to get those endorphins cranked up, so your body can recalibrate and your body chemistry can balance out, and you can put your body in an environment so it can fix itself until it's gone. If you're going to keep doing patch-up care and you're going to keep slamming energy drinks and monster drinks loaded with caffeine and carbonation and sugar, you're going to make it worse. You're going to make it worse. If you get drunk and go, oh, I feel a little bit better that I had 3 shots of whiskey, yeah, because you're patching it up. You're putting yourself into that buzz state where you don't think about it so much. Grab it by the horns, okay? Go into a clean life and give your body the tools it needs to get rebalanced, for your body to find what they call homeostasis, for your body chemistry to balance out. How long is it going to take? It's going to take how long it takes, okay? But you're going to get there sooner, and you're going to be better off for it. Plus, you're going to learn how to fix it. No one's saying you can't ever have a glass of wine ever again. You can't do this. In moderation, maybe. But you know when it comes again, I've decided not to do it at all. I'm going on 4 years with not a sip of nothing. I just decided I didn't want to be buzzed anymore. But it took a lot of smacking my head into the wall. It took a lot of other nonsense, a DUI here and there, and major depression and all these other things to finally, in my 50s, to snap out of it. Okay? Everybody hits their bottom. Everybody's bottom's a little deeper. And my cement head and how hard-headed I am, my bottom is pretty low. You know? Man. And, death of some close friends. I had another roommate that passed in school. All of these other things in between. The depersonalization that lasted for almost 3 years constant. What's it going to take for you to snap out of it? And not cover this up anymore. And start beating yourself up too much. And you don't think that there's a way out. You put your body in an environment so you're giving it the best shot it can to find a way out. All right? That's what you got to do. So Live your life like you're normally living it. Don't let this thing grab a hold of you. You're going to the gym. The world we live in now is extra stress. It's crazy. So do what you can do now, okay? And if you can beat it through this, like I do, you can handle anything, because you know when you learn and you fix it, your body's building these psychological muscles. And your body's learning this fight or flight mechanism, and it's like, oh, I'm not going to latch on to him today because he can handle all of that and that little fear, and it doesn't cross over to where the circuit breaker blows. Just like building any other muscles. It takes practice and work. So go about your daily life. I don't care if it's going out, get out of the house, go check the mailbox and come back. Yay! Step 1. Okay? Go for a longer walk the next time. Yes, meditation, people use that. That plays a role. Of course, good, clean eating and nutrition. Most powerful drug in the world, remember, begins with an F and ends with a D. Food. Supplements are there to supplement the diet. Yeah, but what should I take? Should I take, rhino's horn? Or should I take astragalus root? Do a basic multi-whole food vitamin mineral. Drink plenty of fresh water. You eat clean and stay away from the junk. No sugar, no alcohol, no drugs. All right? Keep the stress down and keep the people out of your life that are bringing you down. The ones that are... they're around you like this fungus that won't leave. Get away from them. Change your environment. Get a boatie. Get a dog. Whoa, boom. Game changer. Game changer. Always happy to see ya. Wow. What a concept. It's okay to live a nice, calm life. You don't have to have a life. You're with somebody that sucks the life out of you. Life is short that way. You're going to get sick. You're going to die sooner. Sucking the life out of you. You're not alone right now. I'd rather be by myself and alone and with the bode than with somebody that's sucking the life out of me. What's the point? Okay, you have a long life to live. If you found that special person and your soulmate and it's unbelievably awesome, awesome. I love relationships. I'm so all in, it's ridiculous. But marriage didn't work out. Bodhi's working out great. I love this whole thing right now. And you're not alone. You're not alone. Look at all the stuff we got here. Look at the connections we're making now. You're not alone. All right? And don't think you have to have this body next to you that's all the time to have a life. Or have a label attached to yourself. You don't. You don't. You got choices to make. You got to protect yourself and live a better, healthier, happier life, anxiety-free life. Okay? So again, if you're into the meditation and stuff like that, all good. I look at that as kind of in addition to living your life like you normally would and staying away from all the garbage like I just talked about. And you want to use the other thing, those breathing exercises I talked about in the last video. Check it out, Dean Bodie Show, YouTube channel. And, live a cleaner life while your body's trying to recalibrate and find its way. Look at it this way. You're not missing out on booze. You're not missing out on junk food and all the garbage. You're gaining a better quality of life. You're not missing out. You know what you're missing out on? You're missing out on really bad anxiety. You're missing out on probably having to go on some really intense medication that good luck getting off of that and those withdrawals. I've been there too. Those stories are coming at you. Yeah, but he's never done what I've done. Yes, I have. Oh, but he's never been prescribed this. He doesn't know about what I... Yes, I have. Yes, I do. I'm just scratching the surface. When I start talking to you about my little bout with the Xanax and my bout with this, oh my God. Lots of stories coming out, but we're at this part of this anxiety thing. It's not always maybe jumping up and down happy and stuff, but Dean and Bodie Show. Dean Bodie Podcast at Apple, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Dean Bodie Show YouTube channel. We're also on Stitcher and Google and wherever you get podcasts. I'm glad I did this video podcast today. So when you see this, the video I did earlier today, let me see here. The video I did earlier today, you'll see on this video podcast, you'll have a -2. You know, you'll have a -2 because it'll be like a part two. But I want them all to be kind of connected. I'm not always going to be doing a video podcast, but I'll always do a video for the day, or the YouTube channel, whether a short one or whatever, kind of like a little trailer, and setting up a podcast type of thing. That's the main kind of structure of the Dean Bodie experience, or the show. And but if I do decide to get it down, I want to look you in the eye and tell you that it's going to be good. This is a temporary thing. Your body can heal anything if it's put in the proper environment. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. Just don't get in its way too much, okay? And we'll be here coming at you with more stories like this. But most of the time, it'll just be the audio podcasts and the trailer video. But these are fun too. I feel like I'm making a more connection with you. We're here daily. Life is daily, not weekly and monthly. Dean Bodie Show is going to be here for you. And I want you to look forward to it. I want you to get ready. What's he going to talk about next? You know? And we'll have fun. We'll be goofing around most of the time, because even this anxiety thing is kind of goofy. What do you mean it looked like you were looking through saran wrap? What is that supposed? Yeah, visual haziness almost 3 years straight. Wow, whoever thought that was going to happen? But it's fixable. It takes how long it takes. But when you're doing the right things, you shorten the curve. Okay, they talk about flattening the curve. We're talking about shortening the curve. So have an awesome weekend. Man, I watched that space flight today. Holy crap. How exciting is that? Up in orbit. Be excited about that. We're moving forward. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but everybody's got to work through their things the way they work through it, you know? And got a lot of troubled people out there. So let's focus on our health so we can help somebody else. Have an awesome weekend. We'll see you next time in the Dean Bodie Podcast, and it's worth doing again. Dean and Bodie Show. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.